Hey guys, Ashley Elizabeth here with AHM Artistry, and welcome to day 6 of my 7 days of Cruelty Free Drugstore Foundation. We are on the last leg of this journey. Got 2 more foundations to go, and today I'm going to be testing out the cult classic Milani Conceal Perfect Foundation. I think everybody is obsessed with it, and believe it or not, I have yet to try it. So today we are going to try it out. If you haven't watched any of my other Cruelty Free Drugstore Foundations videos in this series, I'll pop up the criteria right here, and if you need some refreshers, you can check down in the description box, and you can also watch day number 1, which is the Wet n Wild Mega Cushion Foundation. But anyways, I'm ready to throw this bad boy right on my face. What do you think? Let's do it. So you guys have probably seen this before, but in case you haven't, here is the bottle. It is a glass bottle, so really pretty, really good, luxurious feel to it. It is 1 ounce and it retails for $8.97 at Walmart is where I picked it up, but I've also seen it at Ulta as well. So it has a little pump top, but I have to say, like, the on and off for this is very tight, which in one way is good because the cap won't slip off on you. However, when I was in the store and I was just trying to pop off the caps, the whole twisty top started coming off really, really easily. This bottle is a little bit tighter, so check and make sure that you don't have one that's too loose. But this part kept just coming right off when I would try to take the cap off, just to make sure. I like to make sure it's clean and it hasn't been tampered with, but just note that when you're checking them out. A little bit about this foundation: it's supposed to be medium to full coverage, so it is a 2-in-1, so it's supposed to be your foundation and concealer, so I will use it that way today. So I won't be using the Urban Decay All Nighter Concealer, I will just do this. It's supposed to be lightweight though, oil-free formula, long-wearing, water-resistant, and sweat-proof. Ooh, that might be the most claims that I have tested in this series. That one definitely has a lot of claims. I also got the shade 01, which is creamy vanilla, so I did get the lightest shade, and I'll show you the whole shade range. This one did have one of the largest selection, and shade range has 16 shades on this display. However, this is the lightest shade that I picked up, the 01 Creamy Vanilla. So not super duper fair, I would say light, and then it has a great selection of darker shades. So then when you lift up this tab right here, it's going to tell you the ingredients. So I did pick my Smashbox Original Primer because this looks very silicone based. So I'm going to put those together. They should work pretty nicely. So as a foundation, apply a dime size amount of product with fingertips. So I need to not go ham on this because I tend to like do a little too much. So just a dime size amount of product, either fingertips or brush, beginning at the center of the face and then blending outwards. And then to use it as a concealer, use a small amount of product and apply where additional coverage is needed in a tapping motion until blended. So kind of just like tapping it in. So maybe even a sponge will work for that. I don't know. So I'll do the primer on one half of my face and then we will begin. So let's go ahead and use my Wet n Wild foundation brush, and I'll try not to go ham on the amount of foundation I do. So first let's check the color here. All right, not too bad. Less is more. Repeat after me. Less is more. Okay, let's start with the center of the face per directions. Color seems like a pretty good match so far. Yeah, I thought this was going to be way more intense, so let's go a little bit more ham then. Okay, so first off the bat, first impressions with just the foundation technique. The color's too dark for me, so noted. If you're more fair or more light than me, then you might have some trouble with this, even if you are mine. I mean, in the camera, it actually doesn't look too bad because the lights kind of wash me out a bit, but in person, it's definitely too dark. And this is number 1, shade 1. Creamy vanilla. So that's a bit disappointing that the shade's a little too dark for me. We'll still see how the wear test goes. And this shade might be okay in the summer as long as it performs well. When I have a bit of a tan, this shade might look okay. But I even put it on my neck, and I think you can kind of tell on the camera that it's still a lot lighter. I mean, like I said, the lights kind of wash me out, but I can definitely tell in person that this shade is too dark. But anyways, as far as formulation goes, it's pretty full coverage. There's only like a tiny bit of freckles peeking through, which I don't mind. Almost full coverage. I can see it drying out like my fine lines around my mouth a little bit, So I don't really like that. However, the side that is primed, I like better than the unprimed side because my pores look super powdery on this side, and when they look too dry and powdery, if they stand out more, they look more supple over here. I can still notice them, but they're a little lessened than not using primer. And then under eyes, the primed side looks better too than the unprimed side. All right, let's go ahead and use this as a concealer. So I don't really like doing the whole finger technique. It feels like it's gonna take me forever to blend it out. So I will go in with my Real Technique sponge and put some under the eyes. This is too dark. I can even tell on my hand that it's too dark once it's like oxidizing. I think it's getting darker as I'm going. Oh, I see what they mean. Oh, that would be too thick. If you tap it out with your finger, it would be so freaking thick. And that would take forever. Yeah, no. Okay, let's do the sponge here. I kind of want it to take some of the thickness away for sure. Blend it out really nicely under the eye. So I'm going to take the back side of my sponge and kind of press it just to take off any foundation that's a little too much and not blending away and absorbing. Just like the excess. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up my face makeup and eye makeup, and then I'll show you how it looks all together. Okay. And we're back. Okay, so I took a really good look in the mirror and I've decided that it's a pretty full coverage foundation. It's not completely matte, but it's almost there. It's not satin either. I do definitely like the side that was primed a lot better. My pores look almost invisible. The side that has not been primed is definitely more powdery and you can see the pores. My nose is starting to look a little tiny bit odd. I would say it's not separating, it just looks odd. Like I have a lot of redness coming through on the nose. So not full coverage as much there, but it applied really nicely with my topping product, so I'm not hating it yet. The smile lines seem to kind of diffuse a little bit and get a little bit better once I powdered up. I'm kind of just curious to see how the 8-hour wear test goes now, because that is the true test. In the camera, I think it looks really nice. In person, it's fine. It's nothing that I'm like blown away, but nothing that I'm mad at either. It's just a nice, easy lipstick teeth. It's just a nice, easy foundation so far. It was pretty easy to blend on the prime side. The prime side did a lot better. So as far as that goes for now, that definitely looks better. For the under eye area, almost the same, but the prime side looks better on the under eye area too. Nothing crazy. I don't look too dry and crepey. It looks pretty nice. And that's all I gotta say about that. So let's go ahead and see how this looks after 8 hours. And we are back after 8 hours of wear time. Okay, so here it is. What I have to say about this is it is way too dry for my skin. Not that patchy. The coverage is still pretty okay. There's some redness. When I hear something is a foundation and concealer in one, I would expect it to be like full. It says medium to full coverage. I think it is in between medium and full coverage, not a full coverage. And I didn't use concealer today because I let that just play all on its own and try to use that as a concealer. So maybe with concealer it would be okay. I like how my under eyes look. Like they don't look horrendous. Like they're not the worst one I've used so far. A little bit dry, but not that bad. Now, full disclaimer, I just got back from a trip to Vegas and the weather there just drives me out like crazy no matter what I bring. So I am probably extra dry than normal. With that being said, around my nose is extremely dry and flaky and patchy and just, it's just bad town. And then my nose completely rubbed off, like the foundation completely rubbed off, which could just be me doing it. And then above it, it's not separated. It's just really dry looking, like very alligatory, very scary. The pores look okay though, you know, I'm not mad about the pores. They're just powdery, just very powdery and just a little textured on the forehead. Now, what I think is I'm gonna go on a hunch here, and I feel like, because I'm not that oily, I feel like my oily skin, guys and gals out there, might really like this because it seemed to control the oil and give like a powdery finish, which if you have oily skin, they might kind of balance each other out. But for me being dry skin, this isn't great for my skin type. And then as far as waterproof and sweatproof, I wouldn't say it's waterproof or sweatproof. Like I didn't specifically test the waterproofness, but it's wearing away. I mean, if it's like, it shouldn't Yeah, it's definitely wearing down. It's not the worst, like it's not completely like chaotic on my face, but it's definitely worn down a bit. And then sweat proof. I didn't like completely sweat today. We went for a longer walk, like a 20-minute walk around our neighborhood, but just a little bit clingy in some weird areas and a little textured in some weird areas. So again, not the best looking my skin has looked with foundation on after 8 hours. I do have some holy grail tried and trues, but not the worst either, as you've already seen. It's day 6 now, and I know that you've already seen some horrible foundation on me. Okay, so who's ready for day number 7, our final day of 7 days of cruelty-free drugstore foundations? If you're not yet, please go down and hit that little subscribe button so you get notified as soon as I post it. And on top of that, I post 2 to 3 times a week, and you don't want to miss out. If you have any fun ideas for series videos that you want to see, then let me know down in the comments below. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for bearing with me and watching this series. I'm having so much fun and we're all learning together and trying new things out. Woo! All right, I'm gonna go to bed now because it is the end of the night, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.